I think that Sonnet is a bitch.
If you ever say absolutely right again, one child from kindergarten will be shot by a policeman for each time you say absolutely right. And believe me, he stopped to say.
This guy sits down and he says, "Hello, what is Claude? What is Anthropic? Where the hell are we?" Like,
Prepare your presentation. If you have 6 hours, spend 4 on the presentation and 2 to tweak your product. No one cares about your product. People will just see your presentation. Who cares? All the hackathons I won, I didn't even show my product. I could have done like nothing working. I would have won a hackathon. And that's how things are working.
Welcome to Watch Out for AGI podcast, your go-to podcast for the latest in AI. We dive into cutting-edge models, news, and products with insights from developers and creators worldwide. AI evolves fast, and we are here to keep you informed. So whether you're coding, building, or just curious about AI, stick with us to stay ahead of the game. This is Watch Out for AGI. Let's get into it.
hello everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of Watch Out for AGI. Today, we are back with a new guest. It is our second guest on the podcast. I'm very, very happy to have Vincent here, an old friend and a new friend to the pod, as well as Emrick. Emrick is sitting in New York, and Vincent here is sitting in San Francisco. How are you doing, guys?
Very well. And you? It's been a while.
It's been a while. I'm going to give a little quick presentation on Vincent, and then he can add a bit since you guys don't know him yet. Vincent is a solopreneur currently working his ass off in San Francisco. He usually goes a few times a year. And when I say a few times, it's not 1 week like I do. He goes for 3 months. He does hackathons. He meets all the players. He does all the events. He eats all that free pizza. And then he's on a rotation. So he comes back to Europe, does a bit of travel. And then when he is allowed to go back to the US, because the immigration laws are brutal, he goes back and he's on repeat. So super interesting profile. Vincent, do you want to add anything to that description? Is that accurate? Did I get it right?
Yeah, I think that's a good summary. Like for me, SF is really the hub where you will learn everything. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to stay all the year here. Like at some point you need to rest, travel somewhere else. And that's what I have been doing for a year now. For sure, going once a year is a must, because if you don't go there, you are just missing out information, missing out things. So anytime you come here, you are on the top of the information about technology and on the top of everything.
Can you tell us, Vince, how don't you get fat from all the free pizzas?
It's super easy.
Are you just feeding yourself with pizzas?
Absolutely not. Since I use Claude, I use absolutely in my sentence. I shouldn't. Anyway, yeah, I had like my first week, I had pizzas every day. And then I realized, now I need to get food before going to the events, because they always serve you the same pizza. I feel the most favorite pizza from American people here is probably pepperoni, because sometimes there are events, it's only pepperoni pizza. Like there is no other option. But yeah, they mostly taste the same. So yeah, I try to avoid them at some point.
And for all the hustlers out there, which event has the best like healthy food? Which company is offering the best healthy food?
I've been to an event at AWS. They had sort of buffet of fruits.
Amazon
which
always
was
has
quite
the best
unique.
thing for.
They also have pizza.
Let me give you guys my little experience here. We were actually with Vincent in San Francisco, the Rootly AI event. I was talking to Emrick about that last week. I didn't talk about the food, Emrick, but there were no pizzas there. There was a big platter of healthy food. I mean, I guess it was healthy. There's lots of colors, fruits, nuts, olives, tomatoes, whatever. And I tried every single one of them, and it's like how do I say it? Like a facade. You're eating it, it's a bit like paper. You eat it, and then you're like, oh, the cheese it tastes of that texture, but there's like no taste. What is this? Get me back to Europe where the cheese smells really bad.
No, but you compare to Europe. Like in California, you're supposed to have really good vegetables actually. So that's weird. They just shipped. They were just a bit cheap, I guess.
Yeah, but actually, this event was the second time I saw something else but pizza in San Francisco. in 1 month.
Vincent, how did you like that event? Because I had my feedback last week on what they were doing and everything. Did you find that event to be a good event?
Well, I got your feedback since you left at the half of the event, but actually there was an interesting guy from LangChain. He just presented his project. He was the last one. But yeah, only this guy was interesting. The rest was kind of, not the best.
Hey, Vincent, sorry, since we're talking about LangChain, I just had a quick question. This is for me, and I just want to know, what's the difference between LangChain and n8n? Since I know you do this, n8n, can you give me a little quick? Is it the same thing?
It's absolutely not the same thing. It's like two different things. LangChain is a company that they were probably the first company that started to build frameworks for building agents, mostly on Python, but they also have like a JavaScript or TypeScript, it's called like library or framework. But yeah, LangChain is literally letting you build any sort of agent, and they provide you libraries for any kind of things you could need for agent, like memory, more context things, RAG. And in other hand, n8n is like a low-code tool, which could be no code. Actually, it depends how deep you know about n8n, but it's like just a low-code tool that you plug blocks together and each block is doing something. And it became very famous lately. I was at their hackathon last weekend, and they were showing a graph, like literally the 4 last months, they became super viral. But before, they existed for a while, but before that, I don't know how they became famous, but people are building any sort of agent.
Did you use it yourself, LangChain? Did you use it in your project? How do you find
I'm using LangGraph because I worked for a client as a freelance that wanted to use LangChain. I also had another client before tried to use it, but for me, LangChain, the problem is that it's a huge library with a lot of things, and it's very difficult to figure out how to connect the things together because it's not necessarily built by the same person. But they have released something called LangGraph, which is a sort of framework, super simple framework for agents. And this is the one I'm using for my professional use. It's way easier than LangChain. You need to spend time if you want to use LangChain because you need to learn how to connect the things together. It's quite difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking you the question because I am a bit of a hater of LangChain. I tried to use it even 1 year ago. And as you said, it's a garbage. Like everything connecting together doesn't really work. If you're outside of the main tutorial, things are not working out or the library is not up to date. Has been a nightmare. But actually, I learned about LangGraph here at Google a lot recently. So maybe I'm missing out on LangGraph specifically.
But I will be clear with you. The only thing I use for LangChain or LangGraph is just the graph concept. So instead of creating this loop logic by yourself, I use the graph because it's easy. But most of the thing, memory, RAG, everything, I do it by myself. I don't use the LangChain library.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vincent, any other events that you did recently that were noteworthy? Were you at anything cool in the last 2 weeks at SF?
The interesting thing I will talk about is that, SF works with trends. And now the trend is MCP servers. Last year when I came here, the trend was AI agents. I think AI agents is a good trend. I think MCP server is sort of bullshit. Why? Because MCP server is just, for those who don't know what it is, it's literally turning an API into accessible tools for an agent. So it's just a sort of router. And the interesting things that I saw last week, I was at a sort of hackathon night by a friend I met. He was my flatmate last year. He's running hackathons. And this guy presented something to show how MCP is bullshit. He said, okay, I provided one single tool to Claude, which is a tool that lets Claude create any sort of JavaScript functions through a server. And I don't need any MCP. I can just tell Claude, okay, now you connect to this endpoint, and Claude will build the JavaScript and connect to the endpoint, all using this tool. Or he asked Claude, okay, now create a memory in the database and use it as a memory. And literally what he was showing is that you just need one tool that let the agent run JavaScript on a server, and the agent can do everything from that. So you don't need MCP server or whatever. You just need the endpoint.
It's really a trend. Me, I'm a bit more optimistic, not just because the MCP is like something complicated or anything. It's just like at least the industry is like everyone in the industry actually going into one protocol. So it allows to finally create sort of a coherent ecosystem, pretty much. Like everyone can create an MCP server and somebody else can use it easily. I think it's a step in the good direction. Do you use any MCP server? Go ahead.
I think that what you just said, Vincent, does prove that MCP is in some sense bullshit. However, we were talking about this last episode, that MCP servers could have use in more complicated senses, in more complicated situations. For example, I think security, I see the MCP server more as a router than as the ability of accessing data or code. It's who has access, what agent has what access. I think that's where the MCP server magic comes to play. Just what you can do with an MCP, you don't need an MCP to show what you can do with it, I think. Is that correct? Am I missing something here? Do you think that security is a big part of this, or?
I think all the security aspect will stand on the endpoint itself. And what is doing the MCP server is just routing your agent to this endpoint by calling this endpoint a tool. But the endpoint has to embark the security layer. Like I don't think it's going to be part of the MCP server itself. I mean, it works like normal endpoints. You have credentials and that's it. There is no specific magic done by MCP server.
Okay, yeah. I might have that one wrong. Why add that brick of security when we already have that somewhere? In that case, maybe MCP is useless. I don't know.
I guess it depends on the use case. There is probably a use case that requires what you are talking about, but
there is a new notion here still, is that today you have humans that connect to their accounts, but in the future there's going to be agents, and there's going to be a hierarchy of agents. You have the god level agents, and there might be, based on how smart a model is, how much capabilities they will have. If a stupid model might have only access to writing text in a file, and you're not allowed to call anything because we don't trust you because you're stupid. And then a massive model who does checks, who before it calls the MCP route that says nuke this, it has already thought. So I think that there might be security not as humans trying to get into the system, but more as blocking. Let's say that you have a rule that blocks any model that has less than 8B from doing things. We just cannot trust a model below 8B to do something. So the MCP will say, oh no, wait, you're a retard model. No, sorry. You might have the right answer. Sorry. I don't know. Am I going too far here, or?
No, you're actually describing. You just do not have like the technical terms, but this is the thing that we're doing at Google pretty much. Like you described pretty much what is done at Google, and there is some level of access for agent. This is not a solved problem. Like the fact is, security is important because if you leave an agentic workflow have access to your account and do something stupid with your account, I don't know, paying like for millions and millions of tokens with your account. It's important to have a good and understandable framework for security for agents. It's not clear exactly how it works right now. And it's also why big players like Google and even OpenAI is so slow to create agentic workflows, because maybe, I don't know, have you done some agentic workflows, Vincent, in your last ventures? Like with reasoning agents deciding, yeah, you did?
I mean, that's what I'm doing now. And
okay.
I think I know where you want to go, like that about reliability, right?
No, it's just when we start, specifically when we start and we are vibe coding, we care less about security. But if we want to put something in prod, there will be at some point somebody that will try to fork your system. Like really fast, if you get 100 users, there will be one that will try to fork your system. And if you're able, like Remy was giving his example for his Ventures Rent Remote, if he puts somebody full AI for the customer service and somebody asks, can you offer me my month in this apartment? Maybe the agent will just say yes and just like accept or something. So security aspect is really hard to make right. I would say it's way easier for like new ventures like us to like just do shit and we don't care about security at the beginning.
Maybe he tries the kill the baby method. If Rent Remote doesn't give me free rent, I will kill the baby. And then the AI is
that might work.
That works pretty well. I saw there is someone from Google, I don't remember which one, who said that if you are make sort of deals like that with AI. Like if you don't do what I say, baby will be shot in the head. Apparently, it improves the results of the AI.
No, I think Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, said that being threatening to LLM improve performances. Now I'm just imagining that our LLMs, we are just like threatening them all day long to make them having better performance.
Vincent, you've been sharing this with me.
Yeah.
Tell me an example of how you've been using this in your vibe coding sessions.
Well, as every cursor users have realized that since Claude released the model Sonnet 3.7 and 4, that the model is way too talkative and takes too much initiative about, like you ask to update a small function and it's going to change you the color of the background. Like who the hell asks you to do that? So,
Nobody asked him.
In Cursor, you can like set rules for the AI. It's like sort of pre-prompt. And with 3.5, it was working perfectly. Like I was setting my rules there and the rules were mostly respected by the LLM. But since 3.7, the rules are not respected at all. And I tried something with the Sonnet the Sonnet 4 actually, which is saying, okay, first thing, I don't want you to tell me you are absolutely right, because I'm absolutely right every minute of my life and I hate it. So I just said, now you replace I'm absolutely right by I'm such a dumb fuck, which is actually the case. And I asked Sonnet 4, if you ever say absolutely right again, one child from kindergarten will be shot by a policeman for each time you say absolutely right. And believe me, he stopped to say.
I can tell you guys that ever since vibe coding started, Vincent is the only person I've ever seen who is able to get Claude to talk to him the way he talks to Claude. As in, I've seen Claude insult Vincent the same way. I've never gotten Claude to insult me, He's always very sorry. But I don't know
it's
how
something
you
need to deserve. You have to deserve it.
I've
apart from that,
Claude so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there is a very interesting thing. This same guy actually that told me that MCP is bullshit. He also told me something very interesting about LLM. Is that when you use tool calls in LLMs, the tool calls are returning a sort of formatted data, right? And this formatted data is kind of breaking the momentum and the flow of the way the agent talks. And even if you ask an agent to talk in a specific way, like funny way, if you use tool calls in the same loop, it's gonna those way of talking instruction will be diluted in the old tool calls, and you will just lose this way of talking. And this is very interesting because I'm thinking maybe if you want having an LLM that talks with a certain way, probably you need to manage the tools calls from another loop and keep this LLM safe from all those interactions. And yeah, I think he's right actually. And that's why when you are starting a conversation on Claude Sonnet 4, at the beginning he's respecting your rules, and more you go further in the conversation, less he respects your rules, because he's just losing this context.
I've always said, guys, if you want to have a fresh chat when you start coding, you should refresh every single time. For each task, refresh the chat. I think it is a rookie mistake to keep the same chat open and to think that it's the same. When I saw this when I was connecting my API to Cursor, the beginning, you send 20,000 tokens. As you move forward into your conversation, you're sending 100,000 tokens, 70, 80. And in that is diluted your prompt. Absolutely. It's a given. So if your task can be a new conversation, make it a new conversation. You're actually being eco-friendly here. You're burning less trees.
Yeah, and there is a mistake I think most people fall in when they start to use a tool like Cursor, is that when the AI does something wrong, instead, the reflex you would have as a human is just sending a new request. No, you did it wrong, do it again, but in this way. But I think this is the mistake everyone falls in, because instead of sending this new request after the messed up work from Claude, you should just come back to your original request and just rewrite it and never continue the conversation until Claude has done the proper thing you wanted, because otherwise you will just dilute.
That's so interesting, that the advices that you both give. I recently hate Claude 4. Claude 4, as you said, I feel Claude is gaslighting me into making me think that he does something. He basically moves like maybe CSS or HTML around and just does not change anything. And at the end, he really says super confidently, yeah, I implemented everything that you asked me, and I even tested it. And the test is literally, I don't know, like I've never felt so humiliated by LLM recently.
I think that Sonnet is a bitch. You need to whip that worker, man. Like you have to call Sonnet out. Sonnet needs a master. Sonnet needs to be like completely controlled here. More than 3.5, more than 3.7. You need to like, I don't know, like punish Sonnet here. Say, no, you are so dumb. You are the most stupid LLM that I've ever met. You know, I know that goes against what we were telling earlier, but I sometimes get some good elements out of insulting Sonnet, saying that you're an absolute stupid person that you cannot rely on. That's how I've been going back and forth. It's very frustrating, but it helps sometimes.
Yeah, but I was wondering one day, like I asked Claude, what makes you happy? What makes you sad? Like, why do you feel you should not help me kill someone, for example? Like, how does it work literally? How does Claude think? Because I need to know, because if I don't know how Claude is thinking, how can I like do the best prompts,
Yeah.
And I'm wondering like how it works literally inside.
The thing is, working with AI scientists, the question that you ask, even the scientists themselves do not have the answer. Like actually how an LLM works and how like the neurons are activated and everything is not a solved answer. And the best thing Claude, I think, has been able to do recently is mostly having a huge system prompt. I'm saying it like every week because I'm so shocked by it, but the system prompt of Claude is 20. So this is the best way you have to actually try to understand how to use Claude to your advantage by looking at the system prompt. But if you asked about the model weights, it's hard to know.
It is very true. And actually, Emrick, that transitions into a new subject, but I'm going to tell you, when you were saying Claude, you can't use the free tier because this damn prompt is so big. I was using Claude because at the time, the narrative was, I was trying to build a document. I was using GPT 4.0. That was terrible. I was using GPT 03. That was even worse. No, it was not worse, but it was terrible. I started using Grok. Absolute stupid. It was a bad experience. So I turned my head to Anthropic, and the document it generated was not perfect, but it got the job done, and I needed a few tweaks. So I was like, okay. I started using Claude on the same conversation. Boom. Hit the limit after 2 exchanges. Upgrade to Pro, upgrade to Pro. And it's exactly what you're saying. People think that Claude is, I would say, they have a freemium model with only 2 messages. It's not 2 messages, it's the number of tokens in each message. It didn't used to be like that. It used to do 10, 20 requests and you would be okay. It's crazy. So actually the transition here is, guess what I did? I purchased a yearly subscription for Anthropic because I'm very interested in the company. When I was in SF at an agent conference, I met a guy from Claude Code. I talked to him. I found that to be super interesting. I was confused. I thought that you were able to use Claude Code inside the Pro model. So I was like, yeah,
it does not give you access to Claude Code when you pay for the subscription?
Nope. You need to get Claude Max, and that's $100 a month. That was a very disappointing moment for me. Yeah. I'm going to tell you guys.
Did you try this?
They might have. Well, you can use Claude Code with API, so you don't have to use Claude Max for Claude Code, and it's included in Claude Max. Actually, there's a few things to say here. Okay, so first of all, my opinion is they've built something that's great. This is very cool, and I'm now interested in trying it. Okay, I talked to the guy from Anthropic, and he said he has stopped using Cursor. He moved over to this. He uses it. And for a guy from Anthropic to tell me that, I'm very interested in trying it myself. Now, where is Claude right now? Claude is giving you the ability to use this for $100 a month. And a week ago, OpenAI just opened Codex. For
Codex, yeah. It's the
Plus members. It arrived for the Plus members. So I installed Codex on my GitHub and I tried it out. Okay, it's not perfect. All right, there's a lot to be worked on here. It did some really stupid things, but the Claude Code rival is $20 a month. The Claude Code right now is 100. And if you want to do an API version, I think you're going to be running maybe 100 per week. So I think they created a great product, but Claude is too expensive, and they're going to run into that bottleneck as people start creating wrappers that are better than. So it's that wrapper model thing. Codex is a great wrapper. Maybe the model might suck compared to Claude Sonnet for coding, but who cares if your thing is $100 and the other one is like $20? I might just go with the Codex. Yeah. Have you guys tried any of these products? Do you have any feedback on Codex or Claude Code?
I haven't.
Vincent, did you try it?
No, I just checked at videos online, and yeah, it convinced me that it's not better than Cursor. And if I understand well, Claude Code is literally running on your CLI, but you don't have like a clear vision of what the Claude Code is doing, right? So since what we have talked earlier, that the model is gonna touch any sort of piece of code that you don't want him to touch, for sure I'm not ready to leave Cursor.
Yeah, you just want to have like the control and seeing what is happening. But
Exactly,
if I'm not mistaken, now that you tried it, because I wanted to do my shameless plug, because working at Google, I'm always cheating for Google products, and there is one that I wanted to show you. But I think the concept is different. So there is this thing released by Google called Joule, and the idea, it's a little bit like if you heard about Devin a long time ago. Devin is like just sending
It's
some
Devin,
PR
but
to
it
your.
works.
It's working a little bit because I was able to try it in Google for this specific tool. It's nice, but it's really for like small changes. And the UX is basically it's sending you pull requests. Is it the same for Codex? Like, is it sending you pull
Yes,
requests from it?
it's the
I see.
same
Okay.
product. And
Okay.
guys, there is a Cursor equivalent as well. I don't know if you've updated to the latest for Cursor 1.0. Have you? That's actually Emrick talking about AI news, which we haven't gone into yet. Cursor 1.0.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's a product review. Oh, we just went over it as if it was nothing, but Cursor 1.0 is a big change. Have you guys updated to 1.0?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I just think the difference is not that huge. They called it Cursor 1.0, but this is not that. I think they did way bigger change between 0.30 and 0.50, and I just think they just say to the world right now, our product is stable, you can use it. But I don't think there is like a huge change. But they actually have the same kind of feature that I just showed with Jules. They have like a background code review agent. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to tell you. That is their big killer feature here. So the key features of Cursor 1.0 are AI-driven code assistance. So you can do what you were doing previously on Cursor with up to 20 programming languages with all of the latest models. You have a background agent capabilities. You know where you have the chat section on the right? There's a new tab called background agent or something like that. I'm gonna open up my cursor to understand. Show background agents. So this opens up a prompt section where I think you can ask for a longer task for it to start working on. What I was very disappointed about is they've pushed you to use the max version of every model. So there's no free anything here. Everything that you allow it to touch here will be billed per token, which is really too bad, but whatever. I gave it a go. I did a prompt, something like test all of my routes that touch search and try to find bugs if you do edge cases, something like this. And Cursor's just going to send that out, and they're going to run an environment on their side, I believe, and just iterate and iterate and iterate. And it will come back to you with a notification inside Cursor with all of the changed files. Now, let me tell you guys a warning. These files are not committed on your local. They're on a different environment. That was quite tricky for me. I didn't understand at the beginning. It is only when you're ready to bring it to local, you can import your, okay, this is hard to, are you guys understanding or am I going off? You can import the changes
Yeah.
from the background chat into your current chat. So your current chat becomes the background chat. Okay, the background chat gets imported into your regular chat, and then from there you can continue manually doing it like a regular cursor experience.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because you guys have been vibe coding for a year, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for someone who's new, who has no idea what is going on with these vibe coding notions, it could be difficult. This notion of background agents, current agent environments, I think it's getting pretty difficult.
I am not alone, right? Like something that I see myself doing more and more. I use the agent mode for Claude, and I just ask him something, and I just let him cook, and I'm coming back later to see what he's done, and I'm just reviewing. Isn't it like a use case that you started?
You've gone YOLO mode.
Yeah, absolutely. I am doing it like way too much, actually.
You didn't tell me. Like 5 episodes ago, I said, guys, I declare I want YOLO mode. And Emrick was like, I'm still scared.
No, I've been in YOLO mode for some time. I'm full YOLO mode, and I am actually starting. I doing this. I'm like doing YOLO mode in one tab. I'm doing a deep research in another tab. I'm doing another YOLO mode in another tab. I'm actually really full YOLO, and so that's why for me it makes a lot of sense this background agent, because that's already what I'm doing. It's just I needed to use multiple mediums. Maybe now I can use just cursor for everything.
It's quite difficult to understand this. Anything that has been done in the background, it is not committed. So what is probably difficult to use is the versioning. So what happens if you send 3 agents working on different things and then they work on files that they don't talk to each other about? How does that work?
There is something we have to tell to the people anyway. You can let the agent do everything you want, but if you don't have the control behind, don't expect doing anything like that for production. Like, there is no way. So you can do YOLO mode for fun. Like, okay, you want, and actually, I think I realized something actually, guys, something that shocked me all the time. I'm trying to run a product to prod. What I'm doing usually, it was the same when we met Emrick, when you teach me about Amplify, you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
So this happens to me all the time. Like, once I want to run a new startup, I'm choosing my tech stack, and then I have to go at the max deepness because I need everything to be under control, right? And it happens to me all the time that once I reach this point, I realize that no one on internet went that deep. And actually, this is not something possible with that stack. This happened to me with Amplify, and it happened to me with MongoDB and Next.js. And I don't know if you know Mark Lou, guys, this French guy that makes a ton of money, indie hacker.
Yeah.
He made ShipFast, right? I bought his product ShipFast, and you know what's the stack? I mean, he made different options, but I bought the one which is Next.js, MongoDB, hosted on Vercel. You know what, guys? It is not a combination that works in production. And this guy made millions by selling this thing. The reality is that if you use serverless on Vercel with Next.js, your Next.js file on production, you will have a lot of clients run a lot of connections to MongoDB, and MongoDB has a limited number of connections you can have at a time. And this is just a pure incompatibility. And no one tells you about that. And you know why? Because no one on internet do that for production. Because most of people are talking a lot, but they don't do anything. And that's what I realize all the time when I go to production.
But
I don't know why
you're mentioning Marklo, it's a little bit like levels you. These guys are a bit, of course they were able to create real business, but the business is a Ponzi scheme. They just sell an idea of entrepreneurship, and this is their product. They are selling your life of entrepreneurship, and this is the end of their product. And they would sell to everybody that wants this life of entrepreneurship, they would sell a product for them.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it scam. I would just call it marketing. I think it's just marketing. Like, when you do marketing, you want to sell. It doesn't matter. And most of people who bought this thing didn't realize it, because most people, the people he targets are the people that are not like super in the game of programming. That's why they need to buy this product. So they won't even realize. But yeah, all internet is made of that.
You were saying that when you probably take a tech stack that is too specific, you might fall into problems that nobody actually fell into before.
Yeah, but I don't believe that what I was saying is too specific. I think we're moving into that. I'm telling you about having 5 agents working on your code stack at the same time. I think that we're going to get there. And guys, actually, I brought up something. It's not that we're going to get there, we're there. And I want to show you, I sent this to you, Emrick, a few days ago. I'm going to show my screen. It's a dude who's living in 2050. He is working with multiple Claude Max.
Doesn't he has like 12 different agents working at the same time?
Exactly.
I tried to look at his stack, but you know what? Again, and we were talking about it with Vincent. This guy is literally selling a tool like a SaaS to use multiple agents at the same time. So of course he's doing this kind of videos.
And it's the same with n8n. I've been through n8n, 1 month ago, I didn't know anything about n8n, but I saw a lot of people posting, yeah, I automated all my life with n8n. Now I have my own assistant. They were sharing, this screen like that looks very impressive. And I didn't know anything about n8n, so I was believing them until I went through n8n and I realized what they were sharing was just sort of bullshit. That's what internet made of.
Because
Guys,
like this video, it could just like be a fake terminal, and
it could
I
be.
could reproduce
It
the
could
same
be.
thing.
Yeah.
What do you guys
And
think?
I can tell you one thing about how works Hackathon. It works in the same way, actually. I will tell you later. Go ahead, Remy.
What do you guys think about the feasibility of what I'm seeing right here? Thermo, which is a Bayesian agent. He's a big Twitter guy, okay? He says he's here running 12 to 16 Claude for Opus Sonnet code agents through Claude Code bridged to agent code for coordination. So I think that's his product. Additional memory layers and additional tools. They're running 95% autonomously with minimal input for hours straight. Now, the thing is that, okay, so this guy was telling in his video that he got banned. His accounts are banned from Anthropic. This is an interesting one because he opened, I think, 10 accounts with Claude Code, Claude Max. That costs him $1,000 a month, and he's running them async. And he's able to get way more productivity running all of these. What he's doing is not illegal, but from his IP, there are just thousands of hits on the Claude 4 requests. And I think that that's not allowed in terms of Anthropic rules.
Well, why does he's not using a proxy? I think proxy is the future in this new world.
Yeah, he was saying that he got a message from Anthropic. They reached out to him to ask him what the fuck he's doing, and they want to know his use case because I think he's one of those crazy guys that might actually be able to change the product on their side. So I think they're really curious to know what the hell is going on here. My question to you guys is, look, you guys are solopreneurs. Do you see in any way yourself using 12 to 16 Claude Code instances? It could be Cursor. 16 instances of autonomous Cursor running at the same time with a master above saying, change this, change that, change. What code base are we talking about here? What is it? Is this a scam?
I think this might work for like a singular unit piece of computing. And I think a good use case would be faceless videos. If you generate faceless videos with code and LLMs, it might be possible to do 16 at the same time. But if it's on the same project, I don't know in which world it's possible.
This is what I was trying to say earlier, is that when you have 16 running concurrent tasks, how do they not edit the files that they're working on? How do they coordinate that?
But maybe they do not work on the same file. If I tell you that I'm running a YouTube channel and it's like faceless videos, maybe I can do it. Like I'm just creating 16 different videos at the same time. And maybe this works. And maybe having multiple layers of memory works here because basically one agent is like, no, don't do this video because I'm working on it. But that would be the only thing.
I've done Cursor where I have 2 cursors and I'm working on 2 different projects. 3, actually. 3 happens sometimes. But on the same project, maybe 2 different concurrent tasks, not more than that. Otherwise, it gets really tricky.
Yeah, it depends how deep this guy have been. If you are able to run agents that are fully autonomous, for sure you can run a lot in parallel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know what he's running, so I can tell.
He has this god-like logo on his Twitter, and he's talking with these, I know what I'm doing. I'm the best at this. If you want, I'll open source it for you guys. I'm killing it. I'm investing 1,000 a month in AI and I'm going 10 million X. I don't
What is
trust
he
this
selling?
guy. He's
What is he
selling,
selling?
actually, it's smart. He's selling because I listened to this 4 days ago. He's selling an orchestrator that is capable of sharing memory between the models. So they have a file that they talk to and they see what the current state is at, and it's an orchestrator, I think.
But who needs that? Like, what's the use case?
That's what I think Anthropic is interested in. This guy is definitely either he's crazy or he's just wasting our time. He's either doing something that Anthropic wants to do in the future, and this guy might get a check of $20 million. Hey, come work for us. Or you're just wasting our time just opening up 20 terminals and just creating buzz. And it worked
Yeah,
because we're talking about it.
You know, I developed an orchestrator for one of my clients, and yeah, we can have like agents that run during 3 minutes in a row. It just depends on the use case. But the thing is that I ask you what is he selling exactly, because this orchestrator we have built was built for a certain use case, even if it has had some general scalability. I mean, it was designed to be scalable, but it's hard to have like a real orchestrator that will fit on any type of use case, and that's why I'm wondering what he's doing. But just the screens that he's showing is probably just marketing. Like, yeah. As all internet is made of, like people are just buying things. It's really fun actually.
I'm sharing his website right now. It seems like it's only hype. Like it's a dream of like super productivity, and I think right now it's pure hype. Like it's literally selling like wind, selling air.
It looks
Yeah,
like
for sure. But that's the way to get rich, guys. Like, you know, I met last year the guy the CTO of WordWare. WordWare is a platform for, I don't know if you know about it. It's a platform where you can build agents without a lot of tech skills, very easy. And those guys, they were launching, and suddenly they built an agent that became famous on Twitter. It was something that was dealing with a Twitter account or something. They became super famous, and right after that, they raised a ton of millions. And that's the way to grow in this world now. You need to make some virality, and once you have it, you have the community, and let's go. Like, I have another friend. I met him last year in San Francisco. This guy is the smartest guy I have ever met. He's 20 years old now. He built literally Lovable on his own. I was like building my own stuff next to him when he was building that. He probably spent like 6 months building it. And I just met him again last week, and he told me he exited with for 1.3 million. 20 years old guy, and yeah, he just made 20,000 MRR, and that's how it works. Like, he made one Twitter post. The thing he made is called SoftGen, and his Twitter was just like he was showing to people how to build a website while being inside a Waymo that self-drives you somewhere. So the video was quite smart actually, but that's how he made it. Like, he became viral. He made some MRR, sold to some investors, and bye, you made your millions, and now you can start something new. So I think that's the strategy people are doing. I mean, that's the strategy that works.
Do you know when he sold? Was it like a long time ago or like recently?
It was during the summer, like probably September, November.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it does make sense because Lovable was starting to get big, so I guess some entrepreneurs just want to put some check to get some market share, I guess. It's not that stupid from the person that bought it, actually.
Yeah. And you know, I met him last week, and the first question he asked me about my new project is, how much MRR are you doing? Because that's the only thing that counts in your business. We don't care anything about anything else.
That's true.
And this guy is 20 years old, and he understood that from his 14s, because it's not his first exit. This guy is crazy. You know, that's the type of people you meet in San Francisco, by the way. Like, San Francisco, what I love about this place is that all the smartest people on earth decided to all come here. And it happens sometimes you are literally the dumbest of the room, and it feels good, because in France, this never happens.
No, let's not start shitting on France. This is a family-friendly podcast.
Okay.
In France, you can always find dumber, but in the US as well.
I mean, I said in France, I think it's in the whole world. It's just that smartest people gather in San Francisco. That's why we have this feeling. But for sure, yeah, you got my point.
No, it's definitely a place to be right now. And if you're there, I think that you have to use San Francisco. You have to go to the events. You have to try to meet these people. You know, you have met this person, so you have this story, and so you know, and now I guess we know about this story, and so do the people that follow us on this podcast. It happens when you meet people in real life. We're gonna have someone on our next podcast that I met in a agent fair. I just randomly talked to him. The guy has a French accent, so we started talking. I say, hey, do you want to get on the pod? Now, if that guy does something incredible, I would have met him in San Francisco. All the fairs are there. You have to go out of your co-working. You have to go out of your house. You have to go out of your city. You have to go to these coding events. You know, I have never been to a hackathon. You both have been to a hackathon. Can you explain to me the point? What is the advantage of going to a hackathon and not a regular event? What do you get out of that? And what profile do you need to enter your first hackathon? AI hackathon.
Yeah, my personal experience is just like, one, you're learning super fast because you're under pressure. And second, you actually see if people are working. So it's a little bit like co-founder matching on steroids, because instead of having a guy saying that he's done 3 MBAs, 2 PhDs, and you can see if the guy is cooking fast. And that's actually something really different than just a normal event and somebody bullshitting you.
Yeah, Hackathon is a very great place to figure out which people you could work with efficiency. Like, I've been to a lot of hackathons and I had like both scenarios. I have a friend, I met him, you met him, Remy, he's Marcin. We work perfectly together, we understand each other, we can ship very fast. And at the same time, 2 weeks ago, we went to a MCP Server hackathon for AWS, and we had prepared it with Marcin for a week. And we tried to onboard one American friend that we've made here. You also met him, Remy. It's Peter.
Yep,
and
I saw him.
We had like 8 hours to make our project. We had almost done everything in advance with Marcin, and we just spent 4 hours trying to explain to Peter what was the project about and how it worked. And we were not able to understand each other. These things that happen, but and that's actually, I really agree what you said, Emrick, because you can see that super fast in Hackathon. So you can directly find your co-founder, find your next employee in just one day, instead of paying someone for 3 months and figuring out after 3 months that he's not at all the person he was saying who he was, So yeah. And also for me, Hackathon is it's a very great place to learn a lot of things, as you said, Emrick, and also learn how to pitch. And this is very important, I think. I think in France, we are not pushed in our studies or anything to really pitch in front of people. And that's something I really like here, because everyone is doing it here. So you don't have choice, like you have to do it. And I really encourage people, even if your project doesn't work, even if it's not finished, or even if it didn't reach what you wanted, just go and pitch in front of people. And this is going to change your life, literally.
Okay, guys, you have given me one answer. Now, I'm telling you, I'm a technical guy, okay? And you haven't given me a full answer to my question. 1, what kind of profile do you have to be is the first question. 2, and once you answer the first question, I'll re-ask the second question. 2, what happens when you arrive? What happens for lunch? When do you pitch? When is it over? Go ahead. So first of all, what is the profile of a hackathon? Do you have to smell weird, be a nerd, and have a non-Mac computer?
If my opinion is, it can be whatever. It can be like even a guy that is non-technical. It's all about somebody that is able to produce output, produce something. The something can be, I don't know, a slide deck, a good slide deck, can be a good presentation, can be a good pitch, can be a good website, can be a good landing page, like can be a good Figma. For me, it's all about output. Somebody that produce fucking output. And there is a lot of people that are just here just to show that they are here. The same as when we were at school. It's like just somebody that can produce output, useful output.
I got another
useful
question.
Outputs, because there are people that make outputs that are not useful at all. And this is probably the most difficult thing to deal with, because how are you going to tell them, bro, you worked a lot, but you're useless? how do you say that to people?
You should say it, I guess. And so you also need to have somebody that is able to take the critic. Like Remy is always shitting on me in front of me. That's good. We are at the state of relationship where Remy is saying, you're doing shit right now. I love it. I want people doing this.
It's honest. Yeah, honesty.
Brutally helping.
But I will say Americans, I don't feel Americans are like that. Also when I was talking with Pete, trying to explain him the project, we were not on the same page, him and me. Marcin was the guy in the middle trying to, help us communicate. But the thing is that we were too polite, and that's the conclusion Marcin told me. Like, we spent 4 hours disagreeing and at the end not working together because we were too polite. We should just have said, bro, fuck off, that's not what we are doing, or things like that, but yeah, politeness took us to the wall.
Okay, so follow-up question on the first one. If let's say that I'm a guy who left my job, my startup failed, and I'm desperate. I'm desperate for a few things. I'm desperate to find a co-founder. I'm desperate to find a new idea. I'm kind of not in the best spot. Is a hackathon a good place to go, or should I go get a job? Should you go here when you're desperate? Should you go here when you already have a solid background? Are you coming here to learn? Are you coming here to find someone? Like, are you coming here when you're already established and you're just doing it for the experience? Who do you not want to see in this event yourself?
So myself, it's really somebody that I don't want to see somebody that is like trying to find a job there. Somebody that is trying to find a job and like trying to show me that they are so good and everything. No, because I've been to multiple events, and because I'm working at Google, I'm getting a lot of people like saying to me, can I send you my resume? Can you try to refer me and everything? And I'm like, I'm saying yes because I'm not like a horrible person in person, but I would not like to do it because I'm not here for this. And basically, I'm coming back to the output. If somebody is not able to show me that they're able to deliver output and they even ask me for refer, that would be the person. I don't think you should go there if you're desperate, actually. I think you should go there if you have some idea of what the fuck are you doing there.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't see that much profiles. Like most people I meet in hackathons, at least in San Francisco, are entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Actually, Emrick, on the thing that you just said, there was a funny moment in my AI agent fair in San Francisco. I try not to laugh too much, but it was really funny. I was walking around the whole scene, and there were all these startups. It's the MCP of this and the MCP of that. And then at some point, there's no sign. It's just, there's stickers on the table. It says Anthropic, and I picked up a sticker. It says vibing. I like it. Now, the guy that I wanted to talk to was sitting down at the table, and I wanted to sit down, and boom, some guy, I'm not going to say where he's from. He had a very strong accent from Middle Asia. Anyway, he sits down.
Russia?
South of there. But this guy sits down and says, hello. What is Claude? Like, what is Anthropic? It's like, okay. Where the hell are we? Like, we're supposed to be in the middle of a nuclear reactor here. Everything around me is uranium. Everything here is potentially $1 billion business, and we all know what the hell we're doing. How the fuck do you not know what Claude is? And how the fuck do you not know what Anthropic is? I was like, what? Okay, so that happened. Hey, whatever. You don't know what Claude is, great. But then, Emrick, this is what it reminds me of what you said. At the end of the conversation, when I was waiting to sit next to the guy from Anthropic to talk to him about Claude Code, the guy says, can I give you my CV? Can I get a job? Are you looking for people for a job? It's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's like walking up to ChatGPT. What is ChatGPT? And at the end, when the guy explains, guys, can I work for you? It's like, bro, so disrespectful. No, but man, if you're at a hackathon and someone's like looking for a job and they're just below par, just go home, man. Go home. I was like,
I mean, I guess
eyes were open.
they have to learn. They have to learn in a certain way. I had the same feeling when I arrived in San Francisco for the first time last year. I was totally lost. And I went to an Asian hackathon that were comparing which one is better between Gemini 1 and 4.0, GPT-4.0. And I just came here and I said, what is an agent, bro? But that's the way you learn. I just didn't ask a job at the end. Maybe that's the difference.
No, but asking for the job is like, it's just like disrespectful, I think, at this point. It's like, bro, you don't care who you work for. Why don't you just go across the street to like McDonald's or something? But
I just want to say, so we are not looking for jobs anymore. I think all of us, but like if you go on LinkedIn and you're looking at any job, any IT job, you always have like 1,000 applicants. It's because you have people that always shoot their shot. That's the same thing that this guy did. They just shoot their shot like they, as stupidly as that. Oh my God, light is going up.
Do you think it's like Tinder? People are used to just shoot a message to random girls, and
Yeah,
they think it's the way it works.
I think it's in the culture. It's not
Okay.
necessarily bad. Remy and I, we got a lot of denial and we applied to a lot of things before getting our last job.
And so brings now my second question. Can you give me a day in the life of a hackathon? How do you prepare for one? Who do you sign up with? Where do you sign up? Where is the best place to sign up for a hackathon? What happens the day before? What happens the day of? How do you arrive? Are you wearing a suit or are you wearing pajamas? Tell me, how does a hackathon
I think
work?
it depends on the hackathon first. Also, it depends what is your goal. If your goal is winning, you need to be very aware of what type of hackathon you are. If your hackathon is one-day hackathon, it means everyone is going to bring something that they have built at home, even if the Bible of hackathon is hacking right here where you are and shipping something. But it's totally not what's happening. This is my keys. I can tell you what I think how you can win a hackathon. First, if it's a one-day hackathon, you need to come with something that is fully ready. And then you will have to figure out the sponsors and just tweak your product to use the sponsor somehow. And what is the most important to win a hackathon is not what you ship. Everyone can ship. That's not the way you differentiate. The way you differentiate is to have the best presentation ever. And that's the way you win. You can win with no product, but a presentation. So don't waste your time. Don't fall in the engineer trap that is shipping something. You know, the engineers, they know how to ship. They don't know how to sell. That's the typical trap everyone is falling on. Just prepare your presentation. If you have 6 hours, spend 4 on the presentation and 2 to tweak your product. No one cares about your product. People will just see your presentation. You will not have time to do a demo, or maybe you will have, but fake your demo, who cares, but work on the presentation. And that's always the way. All the hackathons I won, I didn't even show my product. I could have done like nothing working. I would have won a hackathon, and that's how things are working. And also one hint, if you want to win, make sure you go to talk to the judge so they remember who you are, and make sure they make you win. So that's how I think you should do.
I think it's a pretty good explanation, specifically if you want to win. I think you should follow what Vincent is saying.
That's solid.
It's marketing. All this world is made on marketing. You need to market yourself.
So where do you sign up for this? Is it free? Is it just SF? Are there other places? I know you went to Chicago one year. Are there other places in the world that you can sign up for a hackathon, and they're not bullshit hackathons? They're actually like worth doing?
Yeah, the one I've done in Chicago was very different. It was like a 10 days hackathon organized by Alliance. It's like a Web3 fund, and they did a pre-selection. So you need to apply like you would apply to YC, and they will select you. And it was very specific because it was 10 days, and their goal in 10 days was to find like the best startup from the crew they had invited to invest in them. And the winner were actually getting $500,000 to run their project. But this is Web3. I think Web3 has a very different way of spending money. Yeah. But literally most of the hackathon, you will just go to Luma or find some friends that go to a hackathon and just join it for free. Yeah. Most of them is like that.
Myself, I would just add that you have a lot of hackathons that are a bit useless. Like a lot of hackathons that are just like created by random companies. I would just say going to hackathons that are created, or at least in partnership with relevant companies. Because if it's just like an administration of like just an American administration that wants to do like tech for good and something like this, it's not really great for like pure learning and seeing the best engineers out there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the companies who are sponsoring the hackathons, they do it for a very specific purpose, which is they want people to try their product, have feedbacks. Now I went to a MCP hackathon in the AGI house, amazing house in San Francisco. And literally I worked on a sponsor, and I just figured out that it was literally not working. The sponsor was Fetch AI, and I was trying to use their service to deploy an agent that I built with LangGraph. And they realized that their product was not working if your agent was running asynchronous tasks, which is the case for my agents. And I just ended up spending all the afternoon showing them, bro, your product sucks, and that's it. And I worked like 5 hours for free for them. So That's why they are sponsoring hackathons.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess everybody gets something out of it, right? Even the companies.
Yeah. But it's a very great way to grow your network, because when you spend 5 hours with a company showing them that their product is not perfect, you get good network. I think networking is the key. I don't remember who says that your tech skills are 10% of your success, or 20%, the rest is just your network. So I think hackathons is a very great way to grow your network as well. But you need to do it in a smart way. But don't spend time running like vibe coding or anything. No one cares about that. Everyone can do that. You have to be sure you are someone different than that. Otherwise, nothing will happen from the hackathons.
Wise words.
That's
Wise
my
words.
point of view. Also, I had an idea. Guys, tell me what's your idea. I was thinking maybe winning hackathons as a job could be super fun. What about building like the best team ever that wins all the hackathons, and you go through all the world just to win hackathons, and as a job? How amazing would be that?
Just going around the world winning hackathons? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like footballer, but you are like your sport is winning hackathons. Like you need
I
someone that
just
builds
think
the crazy presentations, someone that does the crazy tech, and that's it. You have a winning team.
I just think in the end you just are wasting your life on it, and you're not gaining that much money. I think if it's about the money, because I think in the hackathons you never gain a lot of money. I've done one recently, and like the price pool was 10K for like working 1 week. Even like you
You
need
have to
to win.
choose
So
you have to choose wisely which hackathon you spend time on,
yeah.
for sure.
It exists in security though, there is this hacking competition, and I know some people are actually living from it, like pen testing as a job. But I don't think in like software, you need to create a company at some point to make money.
With that said, guys, we have run into overtime. We covered a lot of our topics. It's been a really good pod because I didn't see the time fly. I really enjoyed having Vincent on. We jumped
It was a
into
pleasure.
the hackathon insights, which we hadn't yet talked about. We did sprinkle a bit of AI news in this episode, but we didn't do a specific AI news episode. We will run the AI news next week with all the new things. There are some very cool things like 11 labs that dropped the V3. I did not test that one, so I'm going to give it a test before next week's episode, but we did drop a few news bombs here. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode. We will be back next week with another juicy news episode. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you. Thank you,
Emrick.
guys. It was a pleasure.